The little pig dreams of going into heat imagining scenes of being surrounded by but the younger female pigs have all matured and he still hasn't entered his estrus cycle. Even his size is smaller than pigs of the same age. As a result, none of the males in the tribe are willing to choose him. Without going into heat, he can't transfer. For 16 years, he's become the laughingstock of the entire black pig. Lu Jushi was supposed to reincarnate, but due to an operator error, he was reborn as a small pot-bellied pig, and it's a world where the weak or ancient beasts are always a threat. Although the river god apologized and gifted him a planting space, the size of the fertile land is tied to his weight. As a little pig, he ate tirelessly, only to find that gaining would add just one more. This infuriated him so much he nearly spat. Clearly, he was a pig, but he couldn't live a peaceful life like a pig should. He had to worry about being eaten by wild. Without a powerful cheat ability, he could only hope that going into heat would find several male beastmates to protect himself. But 16 years have passed. He has become the only little female who hasn't gone into heat. The males who once pursued him gradually started to avoid him. Little G vowed that once he went into heat and transformed, he would destroy their pig intestines. A few days ago, a female in the neighboring goat tribe went into heat. So today they held an adulthood ceremony. Single males from nearby tribes all attended, hoping to become her first mate. Mujushi was already of age, so his father brought him to the goat tribe, gradually losing to let him understand the process of mate selection. The goat tribe saw a steady stream of beastmen arrive. When a strong 6th-tier black pig beastman walked in, the group of beasts immediately stirred into a commotion. Most of the beastmen here were between 2nd and only the leader was 5th tier. No one expected this young black pig beastman to actually be a 6th-tier. Observed the black pig beastman's strength and rank and started calculating in his mind. If this male didn't end up as the goat female's mate, then he would make an effort himself, taking the initiative to try and make him his mate. After all, born in such a small tribe, young and capable males were exceedingly rare. Finally encountering one, he had to seize the opportunity. After all, this world was too dangerous. His father was growing older and couldn't protect him forever, and he didn't want to remain single his entire. Tianya's gaze was unconsciously drawn to Muji, the white little pig who was still wearing clothes. It was truly peculiar. He couldn't help but glance at him a few more times. A faint, hard-to-detect smile. As the goat female made her entrance, the whole crowd erupted again. Sushi greatly enjoyed the attention. Hidden behind a beast skin, he transformed into his human form and appeared, and the crowd burst into an uproar, with everyone scrambling to display their abilities. Tianya left without even seeing Sushi's transformation. He was merely passing by to watch the commotion. He had no interest in the goat female. Seeing him leave, Xiaoju immediately followed. His pace was so fast that Mujushi almost couldn't keep up. For a moment, he regretted eating so much for that small piece of land. Seeing the 6th-tier black pig beastman, Xiaoju shouted, "Hey, pig ahead, please wait." Tianya turned back, looking at the little running toward him. His adorable and tender appearance suddenly gave Tianya the urge to hold him in it. "What is it?" he asked calmly. Xiaoju, panting, looked at him, but suddenly didn't know what to say. After all, he didn't even have a human form. After hesitating for a moment, he clenched his teeth. My name is Mujushi. I'm a female from the neighboring black pig tribe." "Which tribe are you from? And what's your name? How old are you?" After speaking, he immediately. His words were as clumsy as it sounded like he was interrogating someone. Tianya looked at the flustered female in front and found it rather amusing, but he answered truthfully, "My name is Tianya. I'm 22 and I'm a beastman from the northern." "Why are you asking all this?" Xiaoju was about to reply when a group of goat beastmen interrupted. "Isn't that the 16-year-old who still hasn't gone into heat? And he's trying to flirt with a 6th-tier Where does he get the confidence?" "Exactly. Who would want a female who can't go into heat?" Being mocked, Xiaoju felt humiliated, but couldn't find any words to retort. After all, what they said was true. Seeing Xiaoju's pitiful expression, Tianya felt an inexplicable pang, almost wanting to go up and beat those beasts. "You males, speaking to a female like this. Aren't you ashamed? Besides, you're all just weaklings at the first or second. No wonder you have to bully females to feel superior." Hearing this, the goat beastmen immediately felt embarrassed. One by one, they sulked away. Seeing this, Mujushi felt a warmth rise in his heart. This was the first male who had ever stood up. Blushing, he spoke again. "Thank you, Tianya. I just wanted to say, I haven't gone into heat yet. My father said that at the latest, I'll definitely go into heat by 18. He shyly glanced at Tianya. I want to be your mate." "Is that okay?" he asked, His ears turned crimson red, and his voice grew softer and softer. This was his first time ever confessing to a man, and he had been so straightforward. He felt a bit embarrassed. Tianya looked at the shy little pig in front of him and smiled. "You don't even know what kind of person I am, and you want to be my mate?" Most females value their partner's appearance and strength, and they all pridefully wait for males to pursue them. But this little female in front of me actually took the initiative to ask me to be her. Sure enough, she's unique. Her thoughts are unique too. Xiaoju didn't know how to respond for a long. In truth, what he valued was her strength. As for her appearance, judging by the average looks of male orcs here, this Tianya probably wasn't too ugly. As for him, that was another. After all, females here were generally less. Tianya, with a hint, looked at the much smaller Muju in front of him. He had the feeling that even if he wanted to make her his mate, so he gently refused. "You're still young. Let's wait until you go into heat and have a human. Right now, it's not suitable for mating, is it?" Hearing this, Xiaoju instinctively glanced at him, his face instantly flushing red. With their size difference, he indeed couldn't handle it. Perhaps because he was a pig now. He found this black pig strangely handsome. He even felt a sense of security from him, but he rejected him. In this society, where females were treated like he, without a human form, couldn't even find a husband. At that moment, Xiaoju's father came, his eyes full of worry. "Why did you run outside? You made me so anxious." "Father, this black pig orc named Tianya is amazing. I just wanted to try my luck with him. A few years ago, father was injured by a mutated. He almost got eaten. Luckily, he was saved by another werewolf blessed by mother. But since then, his health had been deteriorating. He was always worried that one day he'd be gone, and no one would protect Xiaoju. That's why Xiaoju wanted to find a mate, so his father wouldn't worry so much." Before leaving, Xiaoju took one last look at Tianya, though he felt a bit regretful. "But I have nothing that could convince him. Tianya, I'm returning to my tribe. If fate allows, we'll meet again." Tianya softly responded with a hum. He had other matters to attend. He wouldn't stay in one place for too long. Mujushi and his father hurried back toward the black pig, hoping to reach home before nightfall. But not long after, they were attacked by a third-tier mutated beast. Looked at the ferocious beast staring them down, his body drenched in sweat. An unprecedented fear gripped him. "Xiaoju, when I fight it, you must run away quickly." Father shielded his child behind, whispering instructions. "Okay, I'll go call Ahui and Afu." Mujushi knew he'd only hold his father back if he stayed. He needed to return to the tribe and call his wolf dad for help. But the tiger preferred the small white pig Mujushi. It bypassed father and lunged straight at Mujushi. Xiaoju was so scared that his letting out an instinctive squeal. As the tiger pounced on Mujushi, father rammed it with his tusk, trying to fend it off. From a distance, Tianya suddenly heard the sharp squeal. His heart skipped a beat. He immediately dashed toward the source of the. When he arrived, he saw the third-tier beast biting into father's back, blood flowing profusely. Without hesitation, he charged forward, ramming the beast away. His sharp tusk pinned it against a large tree. After subduing the beast, he retrieved the beast core and helped father recover. Then he sprinted off in search of Mujushi, fearing he might be eaten by other beasts. At this moment, Xiaoju was running through the forest on his desperate to get back to the tribe. He needed his wolf dad to save his. A voice suddenly called out to Mujushi from behind him. Mujushi turned around, panting heavily. He saw Tianya rushing toward him at incredible speed. When he heard that his father was safe, the worry in Mushi's heart finally eased. "Thank you, Tianya." Mujushi followed Tianya to find Afu, and with Tianya's escort, returned to the Black Pig. Payday was very grateful to Tianya. "According to custom, since you saved me and you can be Xiaoju's mate, but I know you are of a higher rank, and may not fancy Xiaoju. If you don't have urgent matters, stay here for a few days. It'll allow me to slowly repay your kindness." Tianya casually responded with he was a nomadic wanderer, staying wherever he went. He didn't like staying in one place for long. Now, encountering this white pig, he was quite curious. What would his human form look like? Black pig tribespeople all had wheat-colored skin. But since Mujushi was a white pig, his skin should be white too, right? Thinking about the rosy white complexion, Tianya felt very intrigued. He looked at the little white pig in front, his gaze meaningful. Maybe it wouldn't be bad to wait until he goes into heat. Later, Tianya was arranged to stay in a cave not far from it was where Xiaoju's brother used to live. Tianya glanced at Mujushi, who looked a bit disheveled after fleeing. He was dirty all over, with mud on his face. Curiously, Tianya asked, "Is it hard for pigs to wear clothes? Does your mother always help you put them on?" "Yes," replied Mujushi absent-mindedly, still worried about his. "Why would you think pigs wear clothes?" Tianya was genuinely curious, because among orcs, no one dressed as a beast. Even females didn't. Only after transforming into human form would they. The wind makes your bottom cold, Mujushi, blurting out without thinking. Tianya looked at him with a puzzled expression. Obviously, Mujushi's response left him confused. Mujushi realized that he had spoken nonsense. Quickly, he explained, I am white. But other beasts are different. They feel embarrassed not to chase after something. He once looked at his in the river. His whole body was white. He looked very small, retaining memories of being human in his. He often had to bathe in the river. But as a beast man, he couldn't wash his back. Every time, he would ask his mother to help. His mother often teased him. Find a mate quickly. Let your mate help you wash. Mujushi sighed helplessly. He also wanted that, but he didn't have one. He looked at Tianya earnestly. Won't you consider it? Tianya actually liked this little white pig quite a bit. However, he was currently being hunted by a few wild dogs. If Mujushi followed him, it would be he was pure and innocent. In the end, he said no. Little Jew, may I call you that? You're still young. Besides, when you go into heat, many males will compete to be your mate. Rejected twice, Mujushi didn't persist. Others at 13 or 14 were already mated, but he was already 16. What did they mean by young? It was just an excuse to reject him. Silently, he led Tianya to an empty cave. Wait here for me. I'll go back and get something. Tianya saw his drooping head. He felt bad. In his heart, he resolved to confess his feelings after killing. Mujushi returned to his store. He found a piece of animal hide and an egg. He also took many vegetables from his storage space. Although the land wasn't vast, he had still grown many things over the years. When he brought him back to Tianya's cave, he found him lying there in a daze. When Tianya came back to his senses, he saw the little beast carrying a large bag of items. Seeing him bring food specifically for him, his eyes were filled with surprise. I'm male. I can find food for myself. You don't need to bring it to me. The reason he stayed was not for their gratitude. He was just curious about what this white humanoid. Hearing his words, Mujushi felt a bit annoyed. He doesn't want to be his mate, nor does he want their gratitude. Then why is he staying? Does he think it's not enough? You saved me and my father. Giving you these is only right. I'll bring more tomorrow. That's not what I meant. Tianya didn't want to explain why he stayed. He stood up and grabbed a potato. Let's eat together. Faced with Tianya's invitation, Mujushi only ate a piece of cabbage. Ever since he taught his father how to use fire, his family mostly ate cooked food now. The people in the tribe also how to use fire. Occasionally, they used it for roasting meat or keeping warm. Unaware of the truth, Tianya was curious. Don't you like this stone fruit? Mujushi munched on his cabbage. I only eat cooked stone fruits, roasted or boiled with fire. They taste better that way. How do you do that? Tianya became increasingly curious about this little white pig. He always seemed so different from others. Mujushi explained it briefly. For him, this wasn't some untellable secret. Tianya decided to try it himself. He immediately transformed into human form to gather. Then he used Mujushi's method to start a fire. Mujushi was stunned by his series of actions. He really was a man of action. He acted immediately, but his human form was truly handsome. Broad shoulders, a narrow waist. As her gaze inadvertently lowered, her face flushed and she quickly looked away. Although she'd seen plenty in this, seeing someone special still made her blush. The two roasted food and ate. Tianya felt moved as he looked at the little white pig. It had been a long time since anyone had eaten with him. Days like this, filled with laughter, Mujushi noticed it was getting late. He stood up to bid Tianya goodbye. Tianya quickly stood up and followed behind him. No need, my home isn't far from here. I can get back myself. Since he didn't want to be Mujushi didn't want to prolong. He was afraid his kindness might give false hope. If he fell for Tianya and then was abandoned, it would hurt too much. I'll walk you back, Mujushi insisted. After all, you're female. It's not safe at night. Those simple words revealed deep care. Mujushi muttered under his breath. The way home took less than 50 seconds. If he insisted on walking him, the two walked in silence, the air filled with awkwardness and tension. Mujushi quickened his pace in discomfort, finally running the last stretch back to his. Tianya watched his retreating, a faint smile curling his lips. What a peculiar little pig. When Mujushi returned home, he first checked on his father. Seeing he was in good health, he went back to his bed to sleep. He had barely laid down when his mother came to scold him. I thought you weren't coming back tonight. Little Jew, that black wild boar is a rare six tribulation beast. You should really hold on to him. If you make him your mate, Your father and I could finally rest. Mushi blushed at her words, feeling both shy and sad. He wanted that too. But unfortunately, Tianya didn't. The next morning, Mujushi checked on his father. Then he packed a pile of food to bring to Tianya. When he arrived outside, he saw that Tianya was already busy with daily chores. There was also a large bunch of bananas nearby. Mujushi was a bit surprised. You went to find food on your own? I'm male. I can find food myself. Your father is injured, so he probably can't find food for you these days. You should keep this for yourselves. Mujushi opened his mouth to say, but Tianya stuffed a banana into his mouth. This fruit is something I specially brought back for you. Try it and see how. Mujushi looked at him, a bit confused. What exactly did he mean? Refusing him yet treating him kindly. Was he playing hard to get? Mujushi stared at him, his mind racing. Tianya, if you don't want to be my mate, why are you so good to me? You're female. Of course, many people should treat you well. With a simple sentence, he brushed off the question. He didn't want to give him vague promises. If those wild dogs caught up with him and he couldn't fight them off, he couldn't always stay by his side. But Mujushi deserved someone who treated. Mujushi stared at him intently. Forget it, asking was pointless. After eating together, Mujushi stood up to say goodbye. I need to go back and I didn't even wash the bowls from last. I'll head off now. Will someone go with you? Is it safe? Although the river wasn't far from the tribe, there were occasional appearances of exotic. Tianya still felt uneasy. Seeing that he seemed worried about him, Mushi couldn't help but feel happy. My mother will go with me. I still need her to help scrub my back and dress. After bidding Tianya farewell, he jogged all the way back home. His mother saw him and, all right, let's go. I've never seen a pig who loves bathing as much as you. Though she grumbled, her hands were busy packing fresh clothes and bathing supplies. Mujushi grinned, knowing his mother was all bark and no bite. She complained every time, but always prepared everything carefully. Though he had become a pig in this life, he felt much happier than as a human. Seeing his mother was almost done, he excitedly ran outside. I'll wait. He then leapt into the water with a splash, happily swimming around. In the distance, an anxious Tianya, who had followed secretly, could at the sight. He really is just a little piglet. He stood silently under a big tree, watching with eyes full of fondness. Soon, Mujushi's mother Axie arrived a bit later. From afar, she noticed Tianya smiling at her son. The affection in his eyes was unmistakable. She was puzzled. Didn't Xiaoju say he rejected him? But those eyes clearly say he likes him. Although she didn't know why, the thought of her child catching the attention of a high rank filled her with joy. She walked over with a friendly greeting. You're Tianya, right? Caught off guard, Tianya looked a bit flustered. Yes? It's like this. Xiaoju's father is feeling a bit unwell. I'm not comfortable leaving. Could you take Xiaoju's clothes to him and help scrub his back? Without waiting for Tianya's reply, Axiang stuffed the clothes in. Thank you so much. I have to check on his. She turned and ran off without another. She ran off immediately after speaking, as if afraid Tianya might refuse. Tianya, holding the strange clothes and a cob of corn, was utterly confused. Bathing with a cob of corn. Do you wash and eat at the same? He furrowed his brow deeply, but eventually mustered the courage to approach Muju. Looking at the little pig in the water, his wet, clinging animal hide skirt stuck closely to his body. Although all pigs looked more or less the same, Tianya couldn't help but wonder what was beneath that hide skirt. Why did a beastman even need clothes? That annoying hide skirt made him want to rip it off. Sensing an intense gaze on him, Mujushi quickly turned around, only to find Tianya staring at him. That gaze seemed like it could devour him. Feeling uneasy, he nervously asked, "Are you here to bathe too?" Tianya instinctively turned his head, swallowed hard, and replied, "Your mother asked me to bring your and help scrub your back." Mujushi's mouth dropped open in disbelief. Isn't this way too embarrassing? However, what truly made him collapse was yet to come.